being in Concord, Massachusetts, I wanted to start with a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said that we are very near to greatness. One step and we are safe. Can we not take the leap? Now, Emerson did not say that we are 5,000 miles from greatness, and he didn't say that we're, 5 feet even from greatness. He said that we're just one single step away. And we know that most of us will go through our lives without ever taking that step. And one of the speakers from our new film, The Great Lesson, refers to a quote by Nelson Mandela, who said that we're not afraid of our darkness. We're actually afraid of our light. We're afraid of how truly great we are. So what's stopping us isn't even out there. It's us. It's something about us, within us. So how do we get out of our own way? How do we stop fighting with ourselves, and how do we start flowing? This is a major message in the movie. Well, in the film, there's a wonderful story by a sports psychologist by the name of Dr. Jerry Lynch. And Dr. Lynch talks about a client of his who was a runner. And this runner of his was so obsessed with his time. He was constantly checking his watch. He had heart monitors. He had high-tech gadgets all over his body. And they went out on one run, and Jerry said to him to take off his watch. And in its place, he gave him a toy watch, removed the glass of the toy watch, and took out a piece of paper. And on this paper, he wrote 3 letters, N-O-W, now. Put it inside the glass of the watch. Anyways, on the next run, this runner ran, and he was an elite runner, went out and ran his absolute best time ever in his life. So it almost seems counterintuitive, but when we let go of the need to control the outcome, the results, the points, whatever, we actually perform at our absolute best, and we allow ourselves to flow. And we can do this in any situation at any time. Even if we're confronted with stress, we can respond to stress in the same way that we've always responded, reactionary, mindless kind of way. Or we could do something totally different. Tom Crum in the film, talks about the centering light. Imagine, if you could, being stuck at a traffic light, the world's longest traffic light you've ever been at in your life. And instead of getting angry and frustrated, actually seeing that light as an opportunity to actually stop and slow down, become more mindful, and to get centered. This is how we actually begin to flow with whatever life throws at us. But the thing about this is it requires practice. We have to practice this on a daily basis. It's very interesting. Richard Strozzi Heckler, one of the speakers in the film, says that we are what we practice. Practice is not just what we do in a gym or in a yoga studio for an hour every day. We are practicing every second of every moment of our life. And we can practice being negative all the time, and we can practice being angry and fearful, or we could actually practice being more centered and expansive and flowing and grateful and loving and happy and kind. And over time, after a month, a year, 10 years, a lifetime, we will become experts in those things, and we will not only change our life, we can change the world with that. Talk about taking a step to greatness. But will we do this? Will we actually do this? Joseph Campbell raises a great point when he says that the real question is whether we will say a hearty yes to our adventure. And I hope everybody here, everybody watching this, will say a hearty yes to their adventure and take that step. And then, and only then, will you realize that you had greatness in you all along. My co-filmmaker, Jamison Jacobs, my producer, is going to talk also about the film.
Thanks. Can you hear me? Thanks, Drew. So I'm the producer. for a couple of years, Drew and I met in a coffee shop in Wellesley, Mass, and we would meet once a week. And it took us a couple of years to really get all our ideas together and build what we have here. Einstein and Edison both said thoughts are things. Robert Gerzon, who's in our film, said that our thoughts are neurotransmittal events. Dr. Mir Schneider said that there's electricity running through our body. Dr. Emoto's work shows that the molecular structure of water is directly affected by our thoughts. Napoleon Hill studied the successful businessmen of his time, and he wrote a book titled Think and Grow Rich. He didn't write a book that said work hard and grow rich, or know the right people and grow rich. He wrote a book that said think and grow rich. And he noticed that the thinking these people did was fundamentally different. The thinking made the difference. So he was studying financially successful people. But the root idea is the same. Thought affects outcome. Now, I want to be careful here. I'm not saying that think happy thoughts and you'll be happy. What I am saying is that largely everything in your life today came about because of the way you thought about the things in your life. Trying to catch his name. Tom Crum, in our film, said that 80 to 90% of your thoughts are the same thoughts you had the day before. Right? So you can only imagine if you're doing the same thoughts, probably having the same behavior, same reactions. We all are incredibly powerful. We put 11 teachers in this film. They come from a diversity of backgrounds. We have a Tai Chi master. We have sports psychologists that work with NCAA championship teams and professional teams. We have a former NATO advisor. We have a cell biologist, a Harvard professor, dance visionaries, healers. We put all these different people in this film to sort of showcase that at the highest level, people are doing mindful practices in their life at the highest level. It's probably one of the most important things we can do is to shift consciousness. I don't think there's any single issue that you're going to convince sort of the globe on: recycling, warfare, corporate greed. I think until we shift fundamentally how we think, the world's not going to change. So it has to start with each of us. That's about it.